shelling out money, anything, ayy. Ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm get to the bag, ayy. Got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast, ayy. Ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss, ayy.
This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Freight Coach podcast. My name is Chris Jolly. I am your host, and I am the Freight Coach. Before we jump into this episode, you guys, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning into this podcast. This is a rare pre-recorded episode here, but at the end of the day, you guys, like I always say, my guests have day jobs, and they can't always make it at the 10:30 time slot, so we try and accommodate to that, and especially with my special guest that I got coming on today, you guys, and we're here just to talk about their journey in freight, how they got started and all that fun stuff, what they're doing right now, and kind of how the market's treating them out there. So I have Mr. Mike Ghouleh on the show today. So Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
No, absolutely, man. And so, dude, how did you get your start in freight? What brought you into transportation?
It's an interesting journey, man. I'll tell you that. It was just I picked it up as a new industry. Never been in it. Said I needed a job. Got out. I got a job with my first company, which they were great people over there at ZMAC.
Yeah.
And they got me started, and I got to learn the industry. From there on, just kept learning. And then one day I picked up and decided, you know what? I needed to support my family more, make some more money, and started my own thing.
Okay. And then, so is that what brought you into like going out on your own and becoming an agent? I know, you said you brought up money. Was it because, like, for me, dude, I've always thought I could do it better than everybody else, right? Like, I personally never enjoyed working for other people. I worked for, I only worked for a couple of companies at the end of the day, but like deep down, I always wanted to come out and do my own thing in some capacity. I didn't know what it looked like. Was that a part of it, man? Did you just kind of want to like jump in and control more of where you were going?
Well, the thing is, everybody has their own recipe or own formula to success, right?
Yeah.
And even though you might start off with one company who's successful, their formula works right for them, but might not work right for you. And you might be like, I want to add this to it or try something different. And it might not work for them. But in the end, if you can make it work, well, then, you got to go out and try it. And in all honesty, this was, I would almost say like this was like the lottery for me. I wasn't expecting this kind of success at first. It was more or less just to make a point. That's it.
How has it been? Because I think going out on your own is, it's a challenge, right? Like I try and tell people I try and be honest with people all the time about like what you actually should be expecting before you go out on your own. And obviously, like, I've started a few companies now, like with 0 customers, 0 revenue guarantee. I had nothing, right? So it's been like complete day one, $1 in both situations. And I'm a glutton for punishment, Mike. So like, I fucking love to do that stuff apparently. But at the end of the day, man, how has that transition been coming out? Like, how do you approach customers differently now, do you think, than you'd have in the past? Or have you kind of always been the same with it?
So, I've always just been very transparent with my clients in the past. I think your clients appreciate transparency. they always say don't discuss the costs or whatnot with your clients, because you're going to always want to put on your back end, your profits, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? I decided to do the opposite. I'd always just tell my clients, hey, look, this is where we're looking. This is what we're looking at. This is what the market's looking at. I'm looking to put this on. You're good with that? Do you agree? We both come to an understanding, mutual relationship. They can appreciate that. And at the same time, I wasn't always the cheapest.
Yeah.
But they could appreciate the service we were putting in. When we were rocking and rolling, man, and I'll be completely honest, I haven't been as active as I used to be. I feel like I hit like a little rock point, and I guess that happens, right? But in the end, I got to pick your pants back up and keep going. And right now, I'm still trying to find that. We're still young. We're not even a year in, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we're doing very well. At the same time, man, you have to have a team. You have to put the right team together. And if you have the right support system, where you fall short, they'll pick you up. Mm-hmm. And where they fall short, you'll pick them up. So it's almost like a give and take, right?
How is that? Because like, I honestly think, with all due respect to everybody at SPI, I honestly think the real unsung heroes are like client care and like the back office support that we get, because it's like from my perspective, when we're out there, like, we move a lot of high value freight at the end of the day, and like the ability to have riders purchased and like ready to rock on that, and then like with, we've had a couple of instances where we needed to hire crane and riggers and everything else that came in, and they come in and they facilitate that, right? So it's like, you brought up that when you're starting out and being a younger, agent with them, and we are too, man. Like, we're only in our third year as being an agent, but like, I truly feel like the ability to pack the punch of like a couple $100 million organization is like completely insane, where we can walk into any situation with any customer. No opportunity comes to our lap where we have to look at it and be like, can we even afford to quote this shipment? Like, do we even have the back office infrastructure or the infrastructure internally to make a move like that, right? Because like, dude, I've been doing this long enough, Mike, where like, not all business is good business. And sometimes brokers can't even afford to move freight for some customers due to like credit restraints and everything that comes along with trying to bootstrap a company.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all the risks you have to take. Sometimes you just have to roll with the punches, man. You got to take it one day at a time. So, for example, when I got into this, every day I was learning something new that I didn't know the day before. And with SPI's support, man, SPI gives great support. They have a great team over there. They taught me a lot, or a lot of things that I wasn't even aware of. And like I said, when I first started this, I wasn't planning on starting this and thinking that this business was going to be operating a year later. I was doing it more or less. I had a baby on the way. We just had a newborn, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's. I got to do something to generate, And at one point, didn't discuss it with my wife. Didn't discuss it with anybody. I just up and started it. Had a good support system. A lady that supported me. She helped me out tremendously. We hit the ground running. And then at the same time, it's your clients. Your clients are going to follow you, right? So I don't like to say I chase clients or customers. I try to gain clients, right? And if our clients need whatever our clients need, I try to oblige. Sometimes you're taking big losses, and trust me, I've taken big losses throughout this journey. But if you're just looking for a short-term gain, most of the time you're not going to take those losses. But if you're looking for the future of a company, you're willing to take those losses because you're hoping that, you'll make those gains back up or those losses back up.
And I think like that's the way that you really need to approach any business at all, right? Like you have to remove the transactional mindset to a lot of it, because yeah, man, it sucks, dude. Like it sucks losing money. It sucks having to, go through some of that stuff, especially when you're, 100% on your own with stuff, right? It's not like there's a direct deposit coming every couple weeks, like you eat what you kill. But it's like you need to be focused on the next 12 months. And in this market in particular, I've seen It'd be more about price now with some shippers than historically in the past, right? And it's like, dude, you have to be showing up. You have to be executing at a high level because, like, dude, I cold call every single day, right? Like, I'm making no less than 55 cold calls every single day to try and get new business, hoping, like, I don't advocate for failure, but I'm hoping their current network drops the ball and we're hitting them at the right moment to where they think of us next, right?
Right.
And you have to be out there willing to do literally whatever it takes right now, because as somebody who has been developing their book of business for the last couple of years, dude, it takes like, this is the longest sales cycle I have literally ever seen in this industry. If you sold pre-COVID, you understand what I'm saying, because, like, dude, it used to be like you get a couple of people on the phone, man, after a couple of decent conversations over like a 60-day period, you're going to get a prove it shipment. Now, prove it shipments don't exist. Like, as soon as you kind of get in the mix with somebody, dude, it could be another year before you win a shipment, right? So it's like the sales cycles are increased from that perspective.
Well, I can agree and disagree with you at the same time. So one thing I disagree with is you don't need a ton of clients, right? You don't need. I mean, it'd be nice, but you don't want to bite off more than you could chew. All right. So our main focus was to try to gain as much of the shipments of our clients as possible. So if we had big clients that are shipping, 2-3 shipments a day, or let's say 30-40 shipments a month, and we could maintain having 4 or 5 of those clients on our books, and there's only a few of us. You see how SPI operates with the team. There's not many agents on one team. They span, but I mean, for my company, we're less than 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, if each one of us could have 2 clients that are shipping with us all the time, at that point, that's great. And then when we have one-off clients, that's even better. Those are the bonus. But if we can maintain and grow, and I don't want to add on any agents that are just half-ass, or just
Yeah.
just want to take in or just be settled, basically settle with what they have. We go out for what we can do, whatever we can deliver on. And if we can deliver it, if we can do it, I tell them, what, let's not do it, and give our clients the fair heads up that, hey, you know what, if you have someone in the back or in the corner that can take this one, just give it to them. We're not going to hold you guys back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's being completely transparent with your clients at the end of the day. And they'll appreciate that, because if you don't get this one, they'll give you the next one.
No, absolutely, man. I'm right there with you. I'm a firm believer where it's like, if you can't do something, let them know, and let them know in ample amount of time. Don't wait till the last minute. That's, when you take your customer's ability to do their job away from them, that's when you lose business. But if you give them ample heads up, of course, no one's happy in the moment, but ultimately they're going to look at it as, at least you told us, right? Like, at least you gave us an 8-hour heads up to give us an opportunity to find somebody else that's going to come in there and at least make it happen, right? We've all dropped the ball, right? Like, I'm never going to sit here and say that I've never done anything wrong. I've made, like, that's my biggest value add, is I know exactly what not to do at this point in my career, Mike. Like, I've burnt it all down, brother, and I'm just out here trying to do as best as I can. And I feel like, when did you start in the industry, Mike? What year did you come in?
I want to say it was 2022. It was
Okay.
mid 2022. But even with that, man, you're not gonna hit a home run. You're not gonna hit a grand slam every time you're up to bat, right?
Yeah.
You can swing. There's nothing wrong with swinging for the fences.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. Swing for the fence. But if you get a base hit, be happy with that.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Everybody always tries to say, "Oh, you dream too big." You're looking at a big picture. No, that's okay. I dream big, but I'm picking up the small pictures on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's nothing wrong with that. And for anyone that's out there that wants to go on their own and do their thing, don't get discouraged. Like, listen, there's gonna be a shit ton of obstacles in your way, and it's never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop. But if you keep running through them, keep running around them, just keep moving forward, even if it's at an inch at a time, then that's all right. And honestly, sometimes I forget that myself, because it gets tough. It isn't the easiest thing. And Chris, I'm sure you've been in the industry for 3 years now. You said you've owned your own company for 3 years now, or you started your own?
I've been in transportation for over 15 years. I've been an agent now for 3 years
Yeah.
with SPI. And dude, for like we cold started, right? Like we had no customers, we had nothing, right?
Right.
Like we had no existing book of business. It was all just hammered down from
Right.
that perspective. But I've been self-employed now for over 5 years or about 5 years now. And
Hmm.
dude, you're 100% right. If you understand what you're walking into when you go out on your own to start a company, and then you stop taking that salary, it is way harder than you think it's going to be. It's
Oh yeah.
way more rewarding than you think it's going to be after you kind of realize, like, essentially, you just got to deduce it down like this, man. It's like, don't make the same mistake twice and just never quit. And
Right.
if you can take that approach to it, I feel like success inevitably will come. And it's like, you have to take the good with the bad. And I personally feel like the most transformative moments throughout my entire career were the times that I thought I was not going to recover from, because you need to learn how not to operate. Like
Right.
you need to know, like like making mistakes and stuff like that. I think mistakes can be extremely valuable to you in the long run, because it's like, dude, the faster you can get to that what not to do, the better off you're going to be, because a lot of people get stuck in that, man. A lot of people get stuck in a little bit of adversity and then they just quit and walk away. They'll walk away from a relationship, whether it's personal, business, it doesn't matter. As soon as they hit that inevitable wall, they stop. But it's like, dude, if you can just push past that, like it's always going to be uncertain. I worked for a large corporation. I didn't for a long time. I didn't know if I was going to have my job some months. You just never know, man. And I
Yeah.
just look at it like this, Mike. I would rather take the stress and uncertainty of doing it for myself than the stress and uncertainty of making sure my boss liked me to keep my job. Like, fuck
Right.
that, man. Like, dude, if I'm putting all the chips in the middle, dude, I'm betting on me 100 times out of 100.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can agree with you in that. Yeah. And at the same time, and if you're a family man, if you have family, if you have
Oh, yeah.
kids, whatnot, that weighs a lot on you. Now, coming into this business, I didn't have a penny to my name, right? But I had to recruit the right players. I had to make sure that they weren't going to go anywhere else, that they put their
Yeah.
trust in me. So, money talks. So you got to give them a little bit of money to get them started and believe in you. And that's honestly where it started, man. When we're rocking and rolling, and like I said, I know you said you were talking about cold calling, and for the most part, man, I was cold calling nonstop. I don't even remember how many calls I was making a day. But even with that being said, the clients that followed me, they weren't client. They weren't. It wasn't me soliciting them. At the end of the day, I'd get a random phone call here or there, and I'd be like, "Hey, look, I can't. I don't want to overstep my boundaries.
Mhm.
But if you're okay with it, you got to make sure that you're okay with it, because I don't want to overlap or take anybody's. I don't want to pull the rug from anybody else's feet, under anyone else's feet. So if you're very satisfied with my service, yeah, you're more than welcome to give me a call, send me an email.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I'm very appreciative of the companies that gave me the opportunity, and I'm very appreciative of everybody that I was able to learn from in
Yeah.
this industry. This industry is a dog eat dog world, man. You could be here one day and the next day you're done.
Dude, straight up. What industry were you in before this, Mike?
Medical.
You were in okay, were you in like medical sales or?
Yeah, no, not medical sales. I was just medical assistant. That's it. Just assisting in managing, actually.
Okay.
So, that's it. And I honestly, I just liked helping people. And that's another part of this business that people don't understand. You're really helping people,
Mhm.
right? You look at your clients, and at the end of the day, between the clients, between the drivers, and people take the drivers for granted.
Oh yeah.
People don't understand how important truck drivers are to this industry. Like, those guys are like workaholics. Like, they deserve, um, you know, they deserve fair rates.
Yeah.
And I always try. I don't try to undercut any of our drivers ever. I try
Mhm.
to make sure everybody gets a fair cut. So then everybody eats at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And if you can maintain that kind of balance, you know, you could, you could just have a list of drivers you go to every single time.
That's literally how we operate, Mike. Like we have a list of carriers. We have our core carriers. We try and develop them out on every lane that we do for our customers. And because like at the end of the day, like load boards serve a purpose, but like that's not an end all be all, man. If that's the only way you source capacity, I think you're going at it all wrong. I think it's a giant waste of time because you should be curating relationships with your carrier partners. And, for us, man, it's like, dude, they've bailed us out way more than we've bailed them out, and there's last minute changes to stuff. No matter what, they come through for us. And, I wasn't always like this, Mike, right? And I always like to very much be abundantly clear that I was that broker that people didn't like early on in my career, right? Pulling carriers off for $50 and all of that stuff, making up all of those excuses, yada, yada, yada. But eventually it hit me in the pocketbook, right? And then that's the best lessons you can learn out there sometimes is when you got to pay for that stuff out of pocket. And it makes you realize like, all right, A, I'm not as cool as I think I am. B, it is not as hard as I'm trying to make it out to be. And I'm like, dude, I just want to, because like you truly as a broker, man, you got to balance it out. There's got to be three winners to every transaction, man. Your customer has to win, the driver has to win, and you have to win. And I have, out of all the podcasts that I've done that I've talked about this, Mike, I am still waiting for the freight broker to come to me with a business plan where we can make money as a freight broker where we don't need trucks. And I'm still waiting for it, man. I'm going to hold my breath on this one and see how long I can last.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna find it, but at the same time, you can't forget your teammates. And my teammates might, and then I call it the Oldfield family, right? Anyone that's that contributes to my company is part of the family, even if they're a temporary family member and they're just a carrier. But my operations director, she's awesome. She's been rocking with me since day one, and we got another agent that just joined the team. She's doing a phenomenal job. But both of them together, like, dealing with them all together, we're doing a great job. And I think our company has a long way to grow. Obviously, we're still young in the game, but I'm very curious to see how the future comes.
Do you have anything laid out over the next 5 years, or are you kind of, like, where do you want to take this, right? Because I feel like, everybody goes in and they start a company and, you have obviously long-term goals, but like I also, some of my best friends who are some, entrepreneurs that I respect the most that are like, no, dude, I don't want to be a certain size company. Like I want to keep it boutique. I want to keep it small. And I want to just keep it where we're providing the best service that we can out there because they worked for the large corporations. They saw like how that kind of essentially transitioned into a chop shop mentality. And, some people I know are, dude, I don't want to do that. Right. They're like, I want to build it up to a certain point. And that's as big as I want to take it. And I have a ton of respect for people who know exactly what they want in that regard.
Well, let me ask you this, Chris. Are you a faithful man?
Absolutely, man. Pray every single day, read the Bible every single day.
There you go. See, that's great. I just leave it in God's hands.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it's nice to have goals, dreams, and all that. And that's how I was when I first started. But, sometimes you get that reality check.
Yeah.
Right. So then at that point, we're always running to who? The Almighty when shit hits the fan.
Every single time.
We're not running to him when things are going well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, I've come to terms where I'm like, you know what? Setting those long-term goals aren't always the best. I mean, they're not bad. Don't get me wrong. You should always set goals. But at this point in my journey, I'm leaving it into Almighty's hands.
Yeah. No, dude, I'm right there with you, right? Like I pray for guidance every single morning in regards to all of this stuff. And I if I look out over, the next 30, 40 years of my career, right? Because like I'm not one of these guys who are like, oh, I'm going to retire. I'm like, dude, I love doing what I'm doing, right? Like this is being self-employed, Mike, for these last 5 years. This is like the most free that I've ever felt, right? Like this is like the most energized I've been about everything. Like I finally feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I finally feel like I'm doing what I was put on this earth to do. Right. And it's like, I have some big audacious goals, right? Like I don't hide behind the fact that I want to build the largest transportation company in North American history. That's what I'm going to build. But if I reach a certain point in my life, Mike, and I'm not there, am I going to look at it as a failure? Absolutely not. Because of what you just said, that maybe that's the journey that God has for me. And that's where I'm supposed to go, so it's like, I'm leaving it up in those hands. I'm going to work every day and do as best as I can. And that's how I'm going to take it. And one thing that's been really transformative for me here, and this is really over the last like 3 to 4 months, is that it finally really clicked for me, Mike, of like, dude, I just got to control my actions today. Right.
Right.
Like I have some critical tasks that I need to accomplish every single day. And that's all I'm focused on. I'm not worried about tomorrow anymore. I'm not worried about next week anymore. I'm worried about, after I chat with you today and wrap this up, I got to make a couple more sales calls for today, do a couple more little videos that I record, and that's it. And then today's a win for me, right? Because I accomplished my day, and I just look at it like that, man. So I try and simplify it to where it's like, instead of worrying about where I'm not, I need to worry about right now and then execute today. And if I execute today, every single day or as many days as I can in a month where it wins, dude, I'm gonna win eventually, right?
Right. I mean, you're gonna get a 1,000 losses before you get one win in this industry,
Straight
right?
up.
And so when you have 100,000 losses, that's what 10 wins,
Yeah.
and those 10 W's are probably the biggest W's of your life, and then it just starts domino affecting.
Yep.
I'm not worried about the losses. The losses are the best because
Mhm.
once you stop losing, you're not gonna know how to win.
Yeah.
You know?
It definitely makes you appreciate it a lot more, right?
Right.
Because
But
otherwise it's like it's not, man. It's not all wins. It's not all sunshine and gumdrops out there, man. You have to go through it. And I honestly think like it sometimes, man, it is a true test of like, hey, if you're praying for all of this stuff, if let's see how bad you want it,
right.
because like nowhere in the Bible does it say life is supposed to be easy. Like
No, right.
contrary to that, actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, life is a test. Life is a journey, and you just got to keep passing those tests. Once you keep taking those failures, uh, it gets difficult to want to get up and be like, "Hey, you know what? Am I going to be able? Do I even want to go into class to take that test?
Yeah.
Do I just want to drop on, say, forget this,
Yeah.
and find something different?" But you know what? In the end, it doesn't even matter. You leave it in the Almighty's hands and see what happens. That was a good quote from Lincoln Park right there.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
man. So, dude, how are you out there building your book of business? Are you focused in on a specific niche or do you kind of take on all modes?
man, we take on all modes. That's the truth. And realistically speaking, lately when I drive around, and this is what I used to do anyways. We used to drive around everywhere, or I used to drive around. How about this? I did more work in my car driving around, okay, for the first year than I did sitting in a chair in an office. No joke. I was driving around with a computer. I'd be parking, booking loads, driving, but I'd be looking for companies, writing down their numbers, trying to give them a call, see if I could get in with them. You
Mhm.
know, I'd go to the industrial area, wherever I could. Um, and man, honestly, see success to me. And I'm not saying this in a narcissistic way. I succeeded. I've had a lot of success in my life in different aspects of my life, different industries, and it's not the success where I'm making tons of money. That's not what I. That's
Mhm.
not what I see as success. Seeing success for me is being able to hold my head up high at the end of the day, being able to smile, being able to come see my wife, kids, and look them in the eye and being like, "Hey, you know what? We got a W today.
Mhm.
We might not received all this money, but we got a W today." But yeah, man, all this at the end of the day, you gotta take pride in the work that you put in, and
Mhm.
that's the W that you get, right? Eventually, it's gonna pan out if you're consistent. It's
Yeah.
gonna, um, like I said, I've hit a little bump in the road, but that doesn't. I mean, I probably just overworked myself. How about that?
Yeah.
Probably, when you first start off and you're on your kind of on your own and you're just doing everything, you just burn yourself out. Um, but day by day, getting back up, getting back at it.
Dude, h- how did you get to this realization on stuff? It's I realize that the older I'm getting, I'm still young at the end of the day, right? Like I'm going to be 39 here soon, but like it took me a long time to get to kind of what you're describing. And I can't even say that like I'm fully there, right? Because like I'm a competitive person, right? Like I hate losing more than I like winning. That's how competitive I am. And it's like how do you like what advice would you give to people out there who kind of think like me, and kind of bringing that balanced approach of like, hey man, like shit's gonna happen. We kind of gotta roll with the punches and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you said earlier in the podcast that it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows and all this stuff, so you just got to get back up. If you basically have to have trained yourself. Now, you look like a guy that's gone through a lot throughout your whole life, right? You've got knocked down and got back up, got knocked. So, see, the easy part is getting knocked down.
Mhm.
Everybody's going to get knocked down. You ask any of these billionaires walking around how many times they've gotten knocked down before becoming successful. I'm sure they'll have a ton of stories for you.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the hard part is learning how to get back up, right? Um, and I think myself included, I'm still learning that. I get knocked down every day, and I got to learn a different way to get back up. Um, and it's tough, man. It gets really tough sometimes, especially when you have other things on your plate, other parts of your life that you're dealing with. You get knocked down, you got to get up in that aspect, and you have to get up for work,
Mhm.
right? So it's just a balance. You have to find that balance. Also, good exercise. You have to exercise, man. Some sort of physical activity to help get that blood going. Eat
Yeah.
right. Um, it's a formula, and I can't tell you that my formula will work right for everybody else,
Mhm.
right? So everybody has to have their own formula. They have to figure out their own formula, their own recipe that's going to work for them. And for me, man, I had that formula.
Yeah.
At least, hey, Chris, I thought I had that formula. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and I did, and it worked. That formula worked right. I mean, perfect to the T. It worked perfect to the T. And then one day it just doesn't. So then you have to do what? You have to figure out a new recipe.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. And right now I'm in the midst of putting together a whole different recipe for
Mhm.
success to keep this company moving and growing. And I have no regrets, you know. To have regret would mean that you're not taking pride in where you came from,
Mhm.
right? And I've had a lot of downfalls just as much as I've had success.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, they both wouldn't work if they wouldn't balance each other out. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I
Yeah.
didn't have downfalls, I wouldn't have those successful days. If I didn't have those successful days, it's because I didn't have any downfalls.
Yeah. No, you need to go through those to appreciate the wins, right? And then you also need to go through them to know that when you're down there, it's not always going to remain, right? And I think that that's something that, I wish the younger, again, I'm not old, but like I wish, people would come to that realization younger. And then same thing what you're talking about, physical fitness and eating right and everything. That's something that I've really, really taken charge of in my life here over these last couple of years. And I would say that that and sobriety have been the two single best decisions I've made for my life. And it's more of just like the clarity that I feel now, right? And it's more of that like I don't need to seek like when shit gets stressful for me, man, like that, like my anchors are working out, right? Like getting up
Right.
early, going to the gym, getting a workout in before everybody wakes up. That's my anchor. And when shit's like really stress me out, dude, I make sure to do another workout when I get home from work. I'll just go outside. It's gonna sound a little hippie, but I just like walk in the sun. I live in Arizona, so it's sunny all the time out here. Sitting in the sun for like 45 minutes, dude, is like the best therapy that I've ever gotten in my life.
Yeah, I could agree with you on that. I could agree, Chris. And then uh, another thing is, man, don't stay down. And a lot of the younger generation might not understand is, uh, if you start on top and then you fall, you're not going to know how to get back to the top.
Hmm.
Now, if you start at the bottom and you crawl your way to the top and then you fall back and you crawl your way back to the top, it's a lot easier. I'm not, look, one thing I could tell you is I'm not scared to fall all the way back to the bottom. I
Yeah.
could start over a million times in a whole different industry. And if I put my mind to it, I'll be successful in that too. And it's not me being a narcissist or
Yeah.
conceited or anything. It's me being confident in, hey, I'm not going to keep failing.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, man. I feel like after a while, you you develop that, right? Like, I share the same sentiment, right? I feel like my greatest asset is my work ethic. Like I'm not afraid to work 16 hours a day if I have to. Like that does not like the thought of that does not bring me any anxiety. It is just the literal I chose the path that I'm on and I will do whatever it takes to make sure that this works out. And if that times it calls for me to work more, I'm going to work more, man. Like that is what it is. Like I look at it as like this is how I provide for my family, right? Like I don't take anything that I do lightly. I don't take anything that I do for granted because I look every time I look at my son, I'm like, dude, this is what it takes. Like I am doing whatever it takes so he doesn't have to go through the shit that I went through,
Yeah.
so he can live that life and hopefully he's set up better than I was. And but again, if it all went away tomorrow, dude, like I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get back to where I am, man. It's just only a matter of time.
And let me ask you,
Yeah.
Chris, relate to this. Did you get to a point where you're like, you know what? I succeeded at this. And then you fall back down and you're like, no, you can get back up and do it again. You know, you could do it again, but you're just like, for what?
Hmm.
Like, did you ever feel like that? Like, for what? And I know you have kids and whatnot, but you could always just look at a different industry and be like, I could go do it in this industry. But you have to find that inner strength and be like, yeah, it might be boring again because you know you accomplished it the first time, right? And you need to find that niche,
Hmm.
that fire again, that flame to get going. Have you ever gotten to that point? And
Yeah.
let me ask you, what gets that flame going under you?
Yeah, I go through that multiple times, man. Sometimes multiple times a week. There's days that, dude, I don't want to get up and do anything, man. Like I want to stay in bed. I don't want to do shit, Like I'm inherently a lazy person, Like I would love to just fuck off all day long.
Right,
But I think I've trained myself and I'm training myself to kind of snap out of that and not let that kind of take charge of my life. And there's days that, dude, I've woken up and I'm like, man, I think it'd be so easy to go do something else, and it would be, I think I'd have more fun. But like, there's a lot of hobbies that I like. I have hobbies, but like, do I want to do them every day, all day long? Probably not. And it also helps, like, dude, I've surrounded myself, and I've been in an entrepreneur group for a while now, and it helps to talk to other entrepreneurs about that.
yeah,
Because you come to realize like how much you actually love what you do. You just might be going through a bad season in it.
yeah,
And then what you realize is literally it does not matter the industry. Everybody goes through them. And I feel like it's just the thought of like, oh, this could be easier or better. And I would almost guarantee that it's not. I feel like it's just going to be a different thing that's going to come up that's going to eventually deter you. And now, if you wake up and you're like miserable, right? And I think that everybody needs to delineate what I'm saying here is there's a difference between having a stretch of bad time and like being literally miserable where you're physically ill at the thought of doing something. Then I feel like, dude, you got to make a change because you literally only live once and you should not be in a position to where like you hate what you're doing every single day. But
right,
I feel like if you're in a season of your life where it's like you're thinking about it, maybe quitting is the right decision for you. Maybe going and trying something new is the right decision for you. Or maybe it's, depending on your family situation or what, maybe go get a part-time job doing something else and see, like, hey, is there something else out there that's better for you? You need to find that out. Like you have time to find that out.
right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Sometimes I just get to that point where I'm like, man, I've done it, and it seemed like, you can do it again. You can make it bigger, you can make it better. But at the end of the day, you're thinking like, is that really what you want to be stuck in? Is that?
Yeah.
But hey, sometimes you just have to do what you don't want to do, not because of anything besides, hey, you have your family right here. Now, at this point, you brought in these lives into this world. you have to be able to support them.
Yeah.
Right. So I could, there's a lot of tough days that you're going to go through in this industry. But at the end, as long as you can keep rolling with the punches, get back up, roll with the punches again, get back up, you're going to get a few concussions, Chris.
Dude.
But,
dude, that's so true.
Yeah, but you got to recover from them. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's my outlook on this industry, my journey.
I'm right there with you, Mike. And I feel like, again, what's really worked for me though is just kind of attacking it on a day-by-day basis and realizing that not every day is going to be bad, just like not every day is going to be good. And it is just more of like just what's worked for me is just really focusing in on that moment and really just focusing on my tasks for them, because it's helped me kind of quell any potential anxieties that pop up about where I'm not. And then if I just focus on like, dude, I did everything I could today, or like I say with sports, man, just leave it all out on the field. At the end of my workday, most days, I will always feel like I could do more, but I'm proud of what I accomplished because I held myself to doing what I had set out to do. And I did not put any excuses out there about like not doing anything. Right.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%. Yeah. Other than that, Chris, the journey, everybody has their own journey. Expect unexpected and prepare for the worst, but wish for the best. Try for the best.
Amen to that, man. Mike, thank you so much for joining me here today, dude. I really appreciate it, man. This is a great conversation. And dude, how does anybody reach out to you to find out more about what you got going on if they want to connect with you?
Well, they could always look us up through SPI, man.
Yeah.
SPI, yeah. OFIL.
Perfect. That works, man. Mike, thank you so much for joining me. That's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. If you're feeling really ambitious after this one, which you should be, rank the show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you saw value, that's how your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang, window down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm get to the bag. Ayy, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast.